Well, Mark, let's start with the FA Youth Cup, because I guess you'll know better than me in terms of the record books, but to reach the fifth round is quite some achievement. It hasn't happened over recent years, and to beat a side like Leeds, who are, I think, widely recognised as having one of the best academy setups, just a great night.
Yeah, I mean, certainly any time a Category 3 academy comes up against a Category 1 academy, you know where the odds are stacked. So, yeah, a brilliant night for everybody. I'm so pleased for Tom Pell, Jimmy Unwin, all the players, all the staff. And I know firsthand how much work goes into working with those players every day and preparing for the Youth Cup. Players in youth teams don't get loads of opportunities to play on a big stage in front of people, but they've delivered by all accounts, a brilliant performance. Myself and Gary were at Reading last night, so we didn't see the game. But Barry Cole, Matt Walker, Ben Small, Martin Davies were all there. And I spoke to Ben Strang after the game, and Tom Pell and Jimmy, and everyone was delighted with the performance. So I'm looking forward to seeing it back. But it sounds like we were very strong in the game. We had a super result, and sets us up really nicely for Nottingham Forest at home in the next round. So yeah, great that Cup fever's taken hold of us this year as a club, and a brilliant night for everybody. So yeah, huge credit to them, and thanks to everyone that turned out. I think over 900 people there, and I think next round hopefully we can get over 1,000 people supporting the team and keep rolling on. I think we've got a bit of a mantra here that we think we can compete with everyone and beat anyone. We also know that anyone can beat us if we're not right, but it's a kind of mindset that runs through the club, and the players showed that again last night, even the younger ones. So yeah, delighted with that for them, and look forward to watching the game back.
Yeah, as it stands, on for a treble. Now, for fans who are perhaps only familiar with the first team, still some names in there that they'll recognise, the likes of Kai Yearn, Harvey Beckett. Just in terms of the overall philosophy, do you try and get as many of the younger players involved with the first team to some degree when you can? I know that COVID has made that a bit more difficult, but is that an aim for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Ever since I've started this job, it's been in a very, very unfamiliar surroundings. Anytime I've been an academy manager or youth team coach, we've probably been closer to the first team from that position than since I've started this job, because COVID's created bubbles, and we spent a whole of the last year never at the same training ground and never at the same time. This year relaxed a little bit, but then we've had either in the youth team, they've had some issues, and they had some going into last night. So they did brilliantly despite overcoming a few players missing. And we've had our own periods this year where we've had issues. So we haven't wanted to cross players from one to the other too often and put at risk, obviously, the virus crossing across the two groups of players. So it's actually proved really difficult. We rarely train at the same place at the same time. But we have had Glenn McConnell, Kai Yearn, the two that have trained with us most and a lot over Christmas and New Year. And then in the last week, they've gone back to the youth team in preparation for that game to play for the youth team in that period. And on a couple of occasions where we haven't filled a substitutes bench, which may be the case going forwards as well. If it coincides with a youth team game or a youth cup game, then we'll make sure the players are in those experiences, because I think for them it's a brilliant experience to play in front of crowds and be the main men in their team and try and carry the team through. So yeah, there's some players that are doing really well at the moment, but we're probably not having as much time with them as we would want, and then with us as much as they would want. And I think one of the other things is just our relentless fixture schedule means that we're training less. So it becomes more and more difficult to work out training sessions where they can be with us. But certainly when the fixtures settle down and the virus sort of settles a little bit, we certainly hope to return to a time where we are at the same place at the same time, and we can really work even closer together than we have done.
Cool. Let's talk about Crewe, who they found a bit of form relative to where they had been over the past month or so, 3 wins from 6. Has anything in particular changed for them? Players coming back, change of tactics? How do you see it?
Well, I think you look at a lot of teams at the minute, wherever they are. I mean, we weren't getting points in the beginning of December time and playing against a lot of the top sides, but performances were excellent, and we were really scrapping and fighting to be in games. And I don't think any team's going to disappear. We saw that on Tuesday. Doncaster are scrapping and fighting, and they're not getting the point return that some of their performances have deserved recently. But they've got some good players and a good side. And I've watched Crewe now quite a bit. I went to Portman Road just before Christmas and watched them play against Ipswich. It was a narrow defeat, but they were really competitive in the game, and it was a really hard fought game. And then last Wednesday night, I went up to watch Crewe against Charlton. And they won that game and did well. They had a solid 0-0 with Shrewsbury last weekend. They've got some good points and some good performances, and really clawed back what was a little bit of a gap. And they are in a position now where I think they've got a confidence and a bit between their teeth that they've got a really good chance of continuing what they've turned around. And I think there's a few things. Number one, over the last couple of years, I think Crewe have done brilliantly. They've done what they do as a club, developed players and sold them on. And they've lost some really key players in the squad. And then they start a new cycle with quite a lot of younger players integrating into the first team for the first time. And development takes months and years, not weeks. So it just takes time for people to find their feet and find their level. And I think they've found it really well in recent weeks. And they're looking at a really good side and playing well, a possession team that like the ball and have always been that way. And they've got some good experience in the team with Porter, Long, Mandron that can offer them those little bits of experience. And then the younger players obviously probably don't play with the fear that sometimes players might. So I think there's plenty to be aware of going into this weekend in terms of what they offer. And they're in a good run of form going into it, as are we.
Isn't it funny in football how there always seems to be a challenge just around the corner for Crewe? You pick out all of the young players they've developed and then you go and lose them all in quite a quick succession because they develop at the same pace. And then you've got a different problem that you then have to deal with.
Yeah, I guess that's the cycle of just being, if you're good at developing players, that is just a cycle you have to live with and keep recreating new teams. And that's deeply embedded in the club there. And I think it's similar to us. Last year we have a successful season. Off the back of it, you lose a couple of really important players. So you have to rebuild a new team. And then that cycle will never end. When you're in a smaller club, that is just a consequence of any periods of success. That's sometimes what happens. So I think you just have to understand where you are in the food chain and know that that's part of it and keep trying to rebuild and grow different teams. And Dave Artell's done a really good job there. He's somebody I know well. We've done quite a few courses together, the LMA Management Diploma last year. We're doing the Pro License together this year. So it'd be good to see him. It's someone we've spent quite a bit of time with. But they've got a very, very clear culture and way of doing things at Crewe. And it's certainly something I've said in the past that we can take things from for ourselves.
And another little achievement that you can potentially tick off this weekend, 3 straight wins for the first time in League One. I know in of itself not that important, but potentially another marker of adapting to life at the level. Yeah,
I've spoken to quite a few people across different leagues this week, actually, about one or two different things. And one of the things that you certainly understand, unless you're a top team at the top of the league that has to win every single game, quite often when you're around the bottom end or middle of the league, anytime you can put consecutive results together, it can make a significant difference. So all of a sudden, 2 wins on the row has made the cushion to the bottom 4 for us, 9 points. Now, that can change within 2 games again, can't it? Whether it's extended or reduced. But obviously, any moment that in the remaining 20 games we can get consecutive results, it will be really beneficial to us. So, of course, that's our intention this weekend, but I'm pretty sure Crewe want to remain unbeaten and have got their own things to fight for. So, yeah, it'll be a good game and it'll be competitive, I'm sure.
Now, last January, you went all the way through the month unbeaten. You've clearly made a really good start to this January. Is there just an element of coincidence there, or is January a month where, when you put the structure of the season together, you consider it to be a really important one?
We also lost loads of games in December last year, so that wasn't planned. I think it is coincidental. I think you can't choose your fixture list. You can't choose the order of the games that you play. I think what you definitely get is January and February are really challenging months because the schedule of games goes up. You're probably going to lose games to weather and potentially this year again, COVID. The pitches do become heavier and they're better in League One than they are in League Two, but they're not perfect by any stretch. And there's quite a big difference between them. Our training ground pitches are causing us massive problems at the moment. So players are heavy-legged going into it. Your squad does get stretched. The conditions on match day become hard. It's sometimes a bit of a gloomy month, isn't it, January? But it's that bit of resilience where you can just grit games out and performances almost go out the window to some extent. You'd like to hope that your performances more often than not will lead you in the right direction for results, but having that little bit of grit to get through results is really important. So for us, yeah, we want to try and maintain that as much as we can. And we know that in this period where maybe some people's attention is elsewhere in terms of the players they can get in and what they might do next with their squad, ours is firmly focused on the players we've got and what we're going to do with them.
Let's do the team news. Is Joe Ironside fine after Tuesday? Will it be a case of strapping up his ankle to go with his knee? Is he okay?
Yes, he's got everything strapped up at the minute. So, yeah, we'll see how he is this morning. We're actually training a bit later today because the next couple of days it's a little bit frosty and frozen on the ground. So we've just pushed training back by an hour to, give everyone a little bit longer in bed, but also just make sure that we're not waiting around or training on firm ground. So we won't know this morning until he's in as to how he looks. There's one or two that are just like game weary, really. There's quite a few games in a short period of time, having had couple of weeks of no games. That sort of came off the back of a really intense period. Now we're back into a really intense period. And I think you can't underestimate the toll that the games at Newcastle, Portsmouth and Lincoln really took on the players. And that showed a little bit on Tuesday night. So we have to make sure now we do have a longer turnaround from a Tuesday to Saturday than a Saturday to Tuesday. So we hope that that really helps. And we hope that the ones that are a little bit bruised can recover. We got a few knocks the other night, so we just got to patch a few up and see how they are. We hope that Wes is okay. We hope that George Williams is okay. We're hoping to see him today. So hopefully we've got one or two to come back into it as well.
Is Wes just his usual game management?
And he had some emergency dental work as well, which was required. So, but he should be back in today.
And with Jensen, where is he inching closer as well?
We don't know. We're getting that scanned just to check on that. We're hopeful that that's quite good. He's made good progress in the last couple of days, but we just want peace of mind on that. So I wouldn't have thought it'd be about this weekend, but we'll see how that settles over the next few days.
I know you like your streamlined squad, and you've outlined before the real benefits of working with a smaller group, but specifically with Joe Ironside, given that if he were to pick up an injury, you don't have a direct replacement for him, you'd have to change things a little bit. Is that an area you can look at, or would it be a case of you wouldn't want a player who, Joe, as it stands, would obviously be the first choice, so whoever came in would have to battle with him, and that'd be hard?
Yeah, it would, but if people understand that is football and it is competition all the time. I mean, Sam's played as a striker at Doncaster. He played there against Portsmouth last week. It gives us a different kind of solo striker, but he's done a really good job there. So that's something that we'll look at if Joey's ever out. And certainly, yeah, we're not against looking at other options, but Joe's quite unique. There's not many like him, and to find players like that is quite a challenge. And very often, those players they're most effective and their best when they're a bit more experienced. So to find those players at a younger age is quite a challenge, but we're always looking for those. And if something crops up that can make us stronger and better and deepen the squad in the last 10 days of the window, then we'll look to do it. But we're not flapping. I'm not a manager in a sweet shop excited this January. We know we've got a few players that are getting close. We know the squad's going to get stretched over the next month. And we know that we'll potentially add something, but we're in no rush. We'll see what comes up in the next couple of weeks, and if something's there to make us better and stronger, then we'll do it.
Yeah, because it's a difficult position to fill at the best of times, but it always seems in the January window to get the right profile of player is extremely hard.
Yeah, more often than not, it's a stopgap or a short-term thing. So that's okay. You can find people to do that, and we might have to do that. But you just want to make sure you bring people that can make a difference and that understand what they're coming into. What we don't want to do is we should not take for granted what we've got here, and we should cherish it because it won't last forever. And it hasn't been. It's not a usual thing when you've got a team that scraps and fights like ours, a spirit like ours. It's a continuation of last year's team, different team, same culture, same values. And that can be distracted and disrupted very, very quickly. And we don't want to do that. So I believe in being loyal to the players that have got you here, that are doing really well, that are fighting really hard. And a little bit that might dictate what we do in the last 10 days will probably be, how does Greg, Lloyd, Shiloh turn out over the next 10 days? Are they getting closer to the team, or are they going to be further away? And depending on that will definitely determine whether we need to do anything else. How's Jensen? Liam O'Neill's getting back up to speed, so that's good. So we just need to probably have a look at everybody else. But another good thing that Jack Lancaster started his first game Tuesday was very good. So we know that we've got an option now. We don't want to bring players in for the sake of it when we know Jack's ready to contribute. We don't want to block a pathway for Ben Warman playing games. We know Kai Yearn and Glenn McConnell could come and play in this team if they needed to, and we needed them. So we don't want to block the opportunities for our younger players as well. So we just need to keep a close eye on that and try and balance that out rather than just sign players because it's January.
Cool. That's great for me.
Hi, Mark. Just to ask a bit more about the academy and the number of players that are coming through. Are you happy with the number of players from the academy that have come through to represent the first team over recent seasons, or is that something that you think needs improving moving forward?
I don't think I'll ever say that we're happy, and I don't think I'll ever say we shouldn't improve, because that is the whole. Like, if you haven't got an ambition to be better, whatever you're doing, there's no point in doing this. So we of course want to improve. The academy's made unbelievable progress. Tom Pell's taken it to a whole nother level in recent years. We score brilliantly at audit. Our education provision is outstanding. Coaching's excellent. Facilities are improving, but are always going to be our issue until we're able to land a better facility and improve in those areas. Recruitment's improving all the time. Dom Knighton's doing a great job there. And there's so many staff and coaches that are doing well, but you just don't see the good work instantly in academy football. That is the life of an academy. It's a long-term player development thing. That alongside that, we're growing a football club that has developed very fast. It wasn't too long ago that we just started an academy. We had a youth system in the non-league for 10 years that people worked tooth and nail to fight for funding to try and keep alive, but it wasn't a registered academy with all that comes with that. And now we're in a position where a few years on, we've started to get some real structure in place and real quality throughout the whole academy that will give us a chance of improving the productivity. And productivity can look different. It can be player sales at younger age groups to economically keep the thing going, or players developing into first team players. And that jump gets bigger and has got bigger every year. You know, if you were Ben Warman, when you were first as a younger player, you were trying to get into a conference team. Then you're trying to get into a League Two team that was mid-table. Then you're trying to get into a promotion-chasing League Two team. And now you're trying to get into a League One team. The level goes up all the time. So that's a big jump. The jump's getting bigger from the 18s to the first team, and we have to keep bridging that gap between the two. But the quality of the younger players is improving as well. And we've got some brilliant ones in there. So certainly we're excited by that. You don't always see the players that we've got. We're really impressed and pleased with Lewis Simper and Mamadou Jobe, who are out on loan at the moment and doing really well. Ben Warman's had his breakthrough season. He's now a player we rely on rather than a young player that's just trying to get in and around it. His next aim is to become a regular player in the first team. So yeah, we're making progress, but there's still plenty more to do for sure.
I'm not sure if it's your specific place to comment or if I should be asking someone at the academy about this, but in terms of category status, you're obviously category 3 as an academy at the moment. Is that, are you in a position to look to improve that to move up to category 2 at this stage, or is that something you wouldn't really look at?
Yeah, no, exactly the right person to ask. I mean, obviously there's plenty of people that can offer an opinion on this, but we're all involved in those conversations. Ben Strang, Tom Powell, Ian Mather, Paul Barry spend a heck of a lot of time on this. And all of them could comment in the longer term development of the club, what the vision is. But I've been in every board meeting for 2 years, so I'm really clear on where we're trying to go and what we want to try and do. And having worked through the academy, it gives me a good understanding of where we've been as well. So we certainly have an intention of trying to improve that status over time, but there's a lot of things that have to fall into place to do it. It would increase the funding availability or the need to become a category 2 academy. It would involve having to have an indoor dome and the facilities that would be needed to come with it. So we think in some areas, in terms of the quality of some of the operations and what we do, we could achieve that category. But at the moment, we haven't got the facilities and a few other bits to go along with it. But that's understandable from where we've come from. You've got to remember, we've been probably 20 years without huge investment in this club. We've been surviving. And the ownership model now has put us in a position of real strength and real stability. And it's another thing that we shouldn't take for granted, and we should love the situation we find ourselves in. And we've got people now that have a real vision and idea of where we want to go next. So again, it's probably longer term, but there's certainly an idea to increase and improve this club at every single level, from whether it's academy, community trust, first team, business operations, whatever side you want to look at, and facilities. There's a huge desire to keep the place going and to keep moving forwards and improving.
Just one other question on where you stand in League One at the minute. Obviously 9 points clear of the drop zone. As a squad and management staff, does that take the pressure off a little bit, having that buffer of 9 points clear at the moment?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think we've played like we're under pressure, which I really like. So I don't think we should take the pressure off or think differently at all. I think the mindset just needs to be the same. We've just got to try and win each game and be competitive as we can be. the cushion's nice now, but 2 weeks ago it was 4 points, and in 2 games' time it could be again. So I just don't really think, you know how quickly things can change, and the moment you think you're comfortable, it just doesn't work like that, does it? It returns and changes very, very quickly. So yeah, no, for us, we're it's nice. It's, you know, the higher up the league table you get, the better. Obviously, it looks nice, but it can change so quickly. We just got to do the next one now, and we've got 2 more league games this month, big ones, and we've got to try and finish January on a positive footing, and then get ready for the next batch. But it's hard to try and decipher periods and chunk things down at the minute when we've just got games every 4 days. It's just about getting through that now. We're in a head down and graft mode. It's a sort of the analogy where you work really hard in pre-season, and then you say to the players, boys, we've got to do some running, and you just got to get your head down and do it. And that's sort of where we are. Get your head down and get through it.
Just one other, actually, from me. Obviously, 4 wins and a draw so far in 2022. Just how pleased are you with how you started this year? Yeah,
very good, very good. And I think it just gives you a nice confidence and everything. And it's just a mad thing of football, isn't it? Like, you could look at the last couple of league games that we've taken 6 points from, and you could pick out 2 that we took no points from before Christmas and say we were better then than we were in these 2. But there's so many variables in that. It's really hard to overlook things. In the end, we all want perfect, but we've got to get points. And we've taken some in those games. It gives us a nice platform to build on. It gives us a good confidence, and just probably builds the belief that the players have in each other, and gives them that motivation to keep doing it and keep improving.
Thank you.